Good morning, and welcome to our show, Facing Vibe Talk, Facing the Lion podcast. Good morning. Today we are thinking about Thursday. And as we think about Thursday, that was a pause. As we're thinking about Thursday, guys, I want you guys to think about this today. Our call in number is toll free 1-800 or 1-888-721 9260. Do I have that right? It's new, guys, so don't laugh at me. It's new, so I'm trying. We'll get it for you in just 1 second. And welcome to our show. I'm glad you made it today. We will make sure of that number. Have some important things to tell you about today. As you all are probably aware of, that my co-host and I, Trish and I, we always meet together for our meetings that talk about what we want to do with our podcast. And we met together yesterday to talk about including a healing center in the healing center. How about that? You know, when we think about quiet, when we think about sound, and we think about what we hear, what we listen to, that has a lot to do with our being able to think. And I thought today would be an excellent day to clue you guys in after she and I discussed having an actual place to be able to think, relax. It's going to be called the Relaxation Center within the Healing Center. So that you're not confused, here's what we're doing. Since it is Vibe Talk Facing the Lion Center, what we're going to be doing, we're going to have where you can come in and you can relax. And we're going to do 45 minutes of relaxation by you being on your headphones and listening to some beautiful sounds, beautiful music, while we guide you through. As you know, that we have been doing this, working on our breathing. We've been doing exercises that keep us calm. Why not include that? So, as Trish and I, good morning, Trish.
Good morning.
We have discovered that that is a really good idea. So that's going to be included. And I just set up an appointment with somebody that's going to do it. And it's It's going to be nice. You can get a personal session for that too. Now remember, it's guided. When you come to the healing center and you are relaxing, you're doing that to calm your heart and to calm whatever's going on with you mentally and emotionally. 45 minutes to an hour of just pure relaxation is bliss. And you're going to get that. I'm excited to announce that to you. If you want that appointment, you can, in fact, get in contact with us. The number for toll free, 1-888-721-9260. Here we are today. It is Think About Thursday, so I'm going to give you several things to think about. One is new information that no matter where you are living, you can be tied to. If you have video, you may be tied to us when we discuss our group. Our group is going to be people that come together, and we're going to discuss a measure of things as a group and have you interact. We can't wait to start that. If you're interested and you live anywhere that can have video, we'll tie you into our group discussions here locally. That will be a walk-in center project. We'll be discussing such things as the following. Are you with me? Let's talk about them right now. And we love to do this once we have a meeting so that you all are informed. We love it. So what are some of the things that we're going to be discussing? As you already know, we have discussed so many things so far. And here's what we're doing. We're going to discuss things such as trauma, depression, abuse. Abuse is a wide spectrum of things. Can I just tell you that? Just a wide spectrum of things. Triggers, stress, abuse, abuse of children, prevention, because we don't want you to abuse any children, but prevention, abuse, mental, emotional, physically, verbally, and otherwise. Challenges that you've been facing. You do that already on Fridays. Recovery from whatever it is that you've been dealing with. You're going to find out that there are others that can relate to you. This is so important, as we've already been doing it for how many years now? 5? Yeah. So now you get to come in as a group. Even if you don't want to say anything, you're able to listen and you're able to gain knowledge. We're going to talk about the parenting challenges, raising children, any parenting classes. It's going to be good for those of you who have children that may be in the system, may or may not be, or could possibly be on their way. You're going to learn all about that. And this is only through experience, guys. So I don't want you to think that I'm here to pass judgment. I just want to be able to access this and you to be in the know. We're going to talk about healing, the experiences that you've all had and would like to share to help someone else. Remember, your survival story is going to be someone else's way of surviving. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize for that. We're back. And we're going to be talking about things that trigger us, prevention, postpartum, fatherhood, getting the privilege of being able to be just that, a father, a mother, those who have lost relationships, death, things that really people need to check into their mental spaces. So we're going to, from here on out, include everything we talk about and so much more. Now, the days and times of your guys' coming and going, okay, to these group sessions, the days and times of you all coming is going to be announced. So what we want to do is weekly. We want weekly for you all to be a part of that. And we are looking so forward to it. We're looking forward to it. So I just want you to know how special it's going to be. We are having technical difficulty in the land of real time, right here on the internet. Please be patient with us. Are you there, Trish? We are having technical difficulty. We are really having technical difficulty. Are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I apologize this morning for me having technical difficulty. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have we got the relaxation that you'll definitely thank me for later? Think about Thursday as always giving you something that you can really appreciate and think about. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you for just a moment regarding thinking about Thursday. Think about Thursday puts you in thought with yourself. And when you hear the song, think about Thursday, you're thinking about Thursday. Uh, is there any way that we can play that, Trish?
I don't have it on my end.
Okay. So thinking about Thursday is something that I want you guys to be able to give some personal thought to. Think about Thursday is your thoughts, how you share your feelings, how you interpret your thinking. There's no judgment, there's no right or wrong. So we present that to you. If you're not familiar with it, look it up on YouTube on our page, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. All about just your thoughts. And that's what the song is about, thinking in your thoughts. Today's thinking in your thoughts is all about if you have the opportunity, which all of us do. You have an opportunity to choose. And as you look at your life and you step forward, what would you choose and why? Would it be more consistency, discipline, or responsibility? You can choose all of them if you so desire. But one is sufficient enough. But you can talk on all of them, and that gives you the opportunity to be able to call in and to be able to say why. Our number again is 1-888-721. And the other part is at 9620, Trish?
No, it's 9260.
I get it wrong. Let's put it up if we can. If we can, let's put it up. Can you guys hear me okay? Trish, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So thinking about Thursday, why do we even want to have that? Don't forget the list, Trish, of the discussions we're going to be having as well. We've decided to include that in case you're wondering, and we're going to form a group, and the group is going to be interactive. If you'd all like to, okay, if you all would like to, you can be connected to our live. All you have to do is be here at this page, and when we're having the group, you will see us go live, and we will tell you when that's going to be. Be sure to follow and like the page. We also want to talk about our donations. Thank you, and thank you everyone who sent donations. We say a personal thank you. Now, I'm not the type of person that likes to blow the horn and let everybody know what everybody's doing, because people are very private about that. But we do have a donation GoFundMe. And everything that we're doing, ladies and gentlemen, you get to see. In fact, we went over that in our meetings to show you how serious we are. Every dime that you've given, every food item, whatever it is, ladies and gentlemen, we account for that. Because we want to make this healing center amazing. We want every person that comes through our doors to feel like they have the opportunity and the chance to get themselves well. Healing is wellness. Let me say that again. Healing is wellness. And we want you here to win. So for everyone, the program is a program that's going to benefit so many more people. If it is God's will, here's what will happen. We will have advanced in that our healing center will be in another state, possibly another area. But our community, wow, for those of you who show out, show support, we appreciate you. And just because it is a free program doesn't mean that we don't think about how grateful we all are. Starting this from the root, and then from those roots grows beautiful petals, and each petal means life. Each petal is like a new way. And if you're on a journey, you would think about being or beginning new. And that's why we have the butterflies. By the way, every person that will come in our doors will get to do a butterfly, because we're going to have a butterfly wall. And it makes perfect sense to me. What about you, Trish?
I think it makes sense too.
Yeah. So everybody gets to do one. Even if you want to mail one in, we'll take that too. Get creative with it. We want the Healing Center, Vibe Talk, Facing the Lion Healing Center, in short, the Healing Center. We want that to be something that you'll remember, something that you love to come to, something that you can tell your friends. You know, a lot of us, when Trish and I discussed about how we were going to put the healing in the Healing Center, and we talked about giving it a name, the relaxation, how many of you could use that for 15 or 20 minutes in your day, even if you're at work and you're close enough, you could run over to the Healing Center? That's a different idea, isn't it? Even if you're at home and you just need 5, 10, 15 minutes, that might do you really some good. I'm excited about this because even through the tranquility, quiet, and very peaceful sounds, can you get this? And it will do a body good. So we're going to be having that. If you're looking to donate, we do have a GoFundMe, and we're going to say thank you. There is a need for exercise mats. We will need them. We're looking to have, starting out with 10. Okay, and when we ask you for this, it doesn't mean that we're not going to buy any. It would help the Healing Center. So we need about 10 exercise mat. Doesn't matter what color. Apply them inexpensively. We're going to start asking for those things, no matter where you live. Our address for the Healing Center, 1317 East Palmdale Boulevard, Suite 18, Palmdale, California, 93550. Palmdale, California. That is where our healing center is. Please send any donated things if you care to do so in care of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion, the Healing Center. Please. You want more information, you can call that 1-800 number and you can ask your questions. Things to think about. When we think about things, when we are driven to do something in mind and thought, that can be very powerful. The mind, though, is something oh so powerful. The things that we can do with our mind, like the word, I've got my mind made up. Usually, when a person has their mind made up, what's the reaction to even thinking that? What do you think, Trish?
It means to me that means I'm gonna do it, or whatever I have my mind made up on. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna try to do it to my best ability. So yeah, that's what it means to me.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna get it done. You're gonna do it. You already have it in your mind, so your mind is set. Let's be ever determined to really think about our thoughts. How about the saying, I can't hear myself think? What do you guys think that means? I can't hear myself think. For me, I can't hear myself think means that I have so many thoughts. It's like a puzzle with so many pieces, and yet I can't even find the first piece because my mind is cluttered. And that's when we need to come to our moments. And when we come to our moments, we need to think about what do we do with all the stuff that's in our brain? Well, unclutter. Unclutter it. Have you ever walked in a junky room and you say, wow, it's a mess? And furthermore, have you felt like the cluttered room that you're looking at? Many, many times. And that's why it's so important to unclutter. And you can get your thoughts. And you can center your thoughts on what you want to be focused on. Life has an order. And when we think about life's order of things, sometimes we say, my mind is everywhere. You've got one mind. So how is it possible that your mind is everywhere? What do you think on that, Trish, when you think about that?
It's funny because I've said that a lot. I say I say my mind's everywhere, or there's a lot going on right now. I don't know what's happening. I've said that before, and that phrase means to me is I'm not focused. I'm not in the present. I'm thinking about a lot of things at one time, and it's hard to focus. So that's how I feel about that.
I love that. And you all can weigh in. Our lines are open for you. Even after the show, you can call in and give your insight or what you think about today's program. Let's take another one when we think about us. Going back to your mind being made up, I think about being determined. People already know something about me, and sometimes I don't voice it. I just do it. That could be challenging as well as downside it, because sometimes I will just dive right into something without counting the cost. And boy, has that cost me, both in an emotional way, in a physical way, and in a very, very emotional and mental. So when I think about my mind being made up, I need to think about the pros and the cons. How many of us actually really do that? You know, when I was a kid, my mother used to always write out a grocery list. And I guess that's why I don't write lists now, except for the one we just put up. Because I was the one that had to write the grocery list. And my mom told me, one day you're going to need to do this. And it was training for me. And so she would have me get out a list and write it. And to this day, I can't stand lists. So in my mind, I have to gather my thoughts mindfully, because if I don't do it, I'm going to forget about something, right? Which requires focus. So like I was saying about the thinking in our thoughts and being able to put them together and be determined, I have to now be mindful of the decisions I'm going to make. Because remember, I will dive into it. Some of the decisions have been very good, and you know what? People always say there's no changing my mind. There's no changing your mind. What does that mean? Has anyone heard that before?
I have.
Yeah, what do you guys think that means? What do you think about that?
It means that if you try to convince them, they won't be convinced that their mind is. It also means their mind is made up too. Like
Ah,
that's also what it
they're
means.
just gonna do it. And that's how I am. And I've learned in my life that I need to think about it, because I've been very fortunate to have thought to do something, and some of the things have ended up really well, and others have not ended up so well. So, what can we think about? Because we can dive deep into this thought when we're getting our minds made up. Have you ever purchased something and then you purchase it and you've changed your mind? And you were so intent on getting it, you got it home and you say, I don't want that. You just do it on the spare of the moment. Anybody's ever done that?
That was me 2 days ago.
Yeah? Tell us about that experience, if you can.
I can. So I bought some ramen noodles. I love ramen noodles, y'all. And when I got them, I was like, okay, I want these, I want these. And as I'm walking down the street, right, on my way home, I pause and I say, I'm not going to eat these. I said, I'm not going to eat these. Why did I get them? And then I ended up giving them to my other siblings. And I was like, wow, that was like a waste of money because I wasn't going to eat them anyway, but I just saw them and I just got it. So that was my experience with that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's one way. And now we've changed our mind. You know, you see kids, and younger children are always wanting something. If you don't believe me, just take them to Walmart, and I dare you to go down the toy section and just watch your kid. They will beg you and beg you and beg you. That's why we think in our thoughts before we get them in the store. We say, what? You better not ask for one thing. How many of us have said that? Oh, wow. So many of us. And so they're in the toys section and you're pressed because you only came to buy one thing. So you thought. I'd like to see anybody, and I challenge you, if you have just came to Walmart to buy one thing and you walked out with that one thing after purchasing it. Because every time I go to Walmart for something, I don't have one thing. I think of a million other things I need to get. So going back to this thought, thinking on this, that child has pressed so many of us. Do you give in? I want you to think about it. What's your thoughts? Because I hear screaming kids all the time. So hats off to you parents that have made up in your mind, no matter what that child does, he's not going to get that. And when he gets home, he's going to get a spanking, is exactly what you think. We have those too. But then there are times when they've pressed us so much, we think, I'm going to get them this. They play with it for a couple of days, maybe 7 days. Where do you see that toy in the following month? Thrown in the closet. They've changed their mind. Even in the little kids thinking, they too have thought, I want a new toy. I'm tired of this toy. And we do think, like Trish says, which we say to ourselves, why did we even buy that? But they think that way too. Let's go deeper. Thinking about relationships. Are we just, we're going to pick anybody that comes along? Or are we thinking, this is an opportunity? Let me find out more about it. Let me be more mindful of this. Or are we people that say, don't even think about it? I'm in the don't even think about it, but in the I need to be mindful. We're talking about relationships. Why are we talking about this? Why are we thinking to talk about this? Because some of us end up in relationships that we've changed our mind. And sometimes 20 years down the line, we've got new thoughts. And why are they new thoughts? Why? Because you've grown. You've matured. You didn't think like you did when you were 16 and 10. Now you're full grown, but are you making the same thinking decisions? Because you
I
could be thinking,
need to hear that.
go ahead, Trish. Go ahead, Beth.
I was saying I needed to hear that because I was at a point where I'm like, am I asking for too much from people now because I was in relationships before and it ended wrong. And now I realize, no, I'm not asking for too much. It's because I won't take that anymore. I have a different mindset. I won't take people just treating me any kind of way and treating me badly. I think I deserve better, so I don't think that way. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much for that. Just chime in. You're the co host. Hey guys, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Many people think about their relationships while many people don't think in their thoughts. They just do it. Remember how we explained how sometimes I make decisions on just doing it? Some people reason in their thoughts. I'd rather have than be lonely. I always gotta have him or her on my shoulders. And some people just dive in headlong. Here's a thought for you to think on. What would life be like if you were more mindful? And I want you to look at the person that you chose to be with. If you were more mindful in thinking in your thoughts, what would your relationship look like in 5 years? And don't say you don't know, because you do know by looking at that person. What would it look like for you? Or are you with the person and you've made a solid thought, and that thought is, I'm going to stay with this person no matter what they do, how they are, and how I feel. I am determined to be with this person, because there is a lot of us like that. We think in our thought we don't want to die lonely. We think in our thoughts we just can't stand it. A lot of people have lost their spouses. They've lost their significant other, and they say their thinking is, I just can't go on. Do you give yourself time to think? Because sometimes when you're grieving a loss, it takes a lot of years to get through it. So have you thought mindfully of the opportunity to choose, or the opportunity, if someone finds you, how much better the relationship can get, growing, reaching your growth, and thinking it's possible? Because when we think about our thoughts and we think about relationships, how many of us that have broken off relationships, that have been divorced, that have been separated, that got out of a bad relationship, how many of us would actually go back to that relationship? Said no one. Because you thought to get out of it, because it just wasn't all that. So you got out of it. Did you get out of it to think, wow, I want to do that all over again? Because usually what we do, our mind is capable of making better choices, even in relationships. But some of us are do-overs. Don't know why that is, not here to judge. But if you're out there and you're listening, ask yourself in your personal thoughts, why are you a do-over with the exact same relationship that you had before, that you decided this is not for me? And I just want to do it all over again to see different results. What's the likelihood of that person doing anything different that hasn't been done before? Especially if it looks like the same relationship, acts like the same relationship. Go figure. It's the same relationship and a different face. Think about that. See, when we think about our life, our decisions, if we have any children that are young and not yet able to make grown adult decisions, we are still making those decisions. I'm not talking about parents who love to jump in and make decisions for their 20 and up. Because you've got to see somewhere in their life that they can make decisions. And if they're not making or thinking about making good decisions, we're there to guide them, not tell them, guiding them. You know, I always think about the thought, if I were you, try changing it up. If I were you, because sometimes we create the thinking in our offspring. Let me know if there's any parents out here, anybody that does this, then we're going to make their every decision. And what happens to us when we start to make their every decision? They're not able to make their own decision. And when they do, it may not be the best. So in their life, you have to allow them to make decisions. Decision making is all about thought processing. And if you have ones who don't think and dive head on, let them experience what that feels like. And there's going to be some ouches. Oh, I'm never going to do that again. All right? So we're back to relationships and thinking in our thoughts. Why would we go back? You know, I know people that have been married 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 perhaps, and they go right back to the same wounded relationship. And they will blame the other person. And you ask the other person, how long you been married? Oh, this is my first time. Now, possibilities are, because that person has been married only one time, they're not the experienced one in marriage. The one who has been married 4, 5, 6, 10. Don't know anybody that has been married 10 times, haven't met them yet. Something doesn't work out, are you going to choose to do better in your thinking and your thoughts? Or are you going to choose, I'm going right back to the frying pan. How many of you have heard about that thought? Jumping into the frying pan. Anybody ever heard of that? Well, it means that you just jumped right in. And what happens with a hot frying pan? You wound yourself. Ouch. And this is for anybody that needs to hear it, because we're thinking in our thoughts today. Because you know what? Once you've done that and you've been wounded by that, do you now think, I don't want to do that again? I don't want to do that again. You will always remember that, and you will always use it as your guide to say, let me think about this, right? Let me think about this. And I think we need to think about things. The world that we live in, and I can tell you just in the last months, and you go figure, people aren't thinking. The latest celebrity news, people definitely are thinking. We're not going to name drop. Be a thinking in your thoughts person. The quietest person is not the scariest person or the weirdest person in the room. Can I tell you why? Because the quietest person is always thinking. See, we think a lot of wording makes people think. Uh, uh, we could be a man or a woman of very few words to get a person to think. Without literally taking our hands to their brain and turning their thoughts around, or changing their thought, or manipulating their thoughts. See, we have no control of that, but we do of our own thoughts. And sometimes we're not doing that, thinking in our thoughts. We want somebody else to do it. So we pass it. We pass it on. Because we're just not used to it. And that's what thinking in your thoughts, when we bring that to you on a weekly basis, is all about. Hearing your thought. Sometimes it's hard for people to translate their thoughts because they just don't think. Sometimes you have to step back and reflect, thinking in your thoughts. Our um, technology today is down, but I'm going to let you think in your thoughts for just a second. And we're going to be right back. We're back, and we're going to turn it over to Trisha's Treasures. Trish?
So I was thinking about the prompt for today, and what I choose out of those is I choose consistency and discipline because I had to a lot in my life. I had to use a lot of this. I had to have a lot of discipline, also responsibility too. Well, so I'll use all three because I had to use all three of them in my life, and I feel like all three of them go hand in hand together. And I had to use it for a specific project this week because I went shopping for my project. I had to make a storyboard, as I told you guys. And they did not, out of 30 minutes of searching that whole store, I said, I'm not going to leave this store until we get everything that I need because I know that I can do this project. I was excited about it too. And I could not find the fabric that I needed.
Oh,
And I was so sad. Like I was very, very sad. I didn't want to leave the store because I was like, okay, I I know this can jeopardize like my grade or something. So I don't know how if I can accept that. And so my sister was like, let's just get a poster board. Let's just get that. And then you can use that. And I was like, no, no, let's keep looking. And I decided to get construction paper instead. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I'm going to try something. So I got the supplies that I needed, like two things at the store. I needed two things and it wasn't there. So I used things that are subtle to it, a substitute for it. So I used those and I got home. I was like, what am I going to do with these? I don't know what I'm doing. And I sat. I had to relax because I was very anxious. I was so worried that like my head started to hurt very, very bad. So I relaxed, and I'm a praying person. So I even prayed all the way, walking all the way home. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, God, I need help. Show me what to do. I don't know. And so as I was walking, I was thinking about, okay, I have construction paper. I have the envelope plastic, and I have the story that I made. And my mom, she said, you can use the cardboard box that I gave you. And I was like, okay, I'll use that. And so I was like, oh, I can put the construction paper together, make it like a poster board, and put it on the cardboard box, and it'll be like a poster board that people use for the science fair. It'll look just like that. And boom, my storyboard. And I was like, oh, I could do that. And I was so excited. And I didn't give up. I'm proud of myself for that because I didn't give up. And so I was like, wait, does the fabric matter in this project? Because if it does, then I'm back to square one. That means I did all that for nothing. And so I text my teacher. I say, so can I use a poster board? Does it matter? And I went to sleep, and I woke up this morning, and she said, that's actually a good idea. That's what she said. She said that's actually a good idea. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm on the right track. I thought ahead. And so I say all that to say, uh when you're in your worry, or when your mind is, like I always say, all over the place, when your mind is everywhere and you're not in focus, you're not in the present, you're so worried about what's going to happen next. What should you do? Or you don't understand where it's going from here. Um, just think about staying in your thoughts, thinking in your thoughts. It's so easy to lose our minds. We use that phrase too, which means to be frantic, to be hysterical. It's so easy to do that. But when we pause, take a breath, do what relaxes us, and actually take time to think and reflect on what's next, it helps us in the long run. So stay thinking in your thoughts.
Love, love, love that so much. Let's weigh in on today's interactive conversation right here on the podcast. Did you know that you could even weigh in with your thoughts and thinking about them even when our podcast is done? You can also go to YouTube and comment. Our 800 number again, Trish?
It is 1-888-721-9260.
I always get it backwards. We have just, ladies and gentlemen, explained to you very thoroughly what thinking in our thoughts, which is affiliated and family of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. You want more of that? You can look on our YouTube and find out all about it. And my, have we had fun with this. I love that people appreciate it. Let's get you, as Trish said, to think more in your thoughts. Let's, you and I together, press forward, be determined to really think about our thoughts. And when we do that, we see so much. We see growth, we see wellness, staying focused, and most of all, while you're sharing your thoughts, you inspire other people. I want to thank my amazing co-host, Trish. Thank you so much. What I'm thankful for is you and your being a part of Web Talk Facing the Lion podcast. And I'm thankful for so many of you who have not just scrolled on your social medias, but actually clicked in. Keep doing that. I'm also thankful for those of you who honor our donation pages, because here's what we do. We use it exclusively for the purpose of our healing center, uh, anything that has to do with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. That's what we're doing, because we're thinking in our thoughts. And along the way, we want to keep growing. Remember, too, if you have anything to donate, we are in need of 10 mats. I thank you. And I thank you as the audience from wherever you're listening. Please let us know where you're listening. It's exciting to find out the different states and in what's going on in your state, your town, your country, your community. And don't forget to repost what you heard today, shared with somebody. We'll challenge you to think in your thoughts always. Have a good day, and thanks, everybody. I'm sitting here thinking in my thoughts, could it be true that it's a fact that thinking in my thoughts, I'm free to do just that? What will I do as I think in my thoughts? Is it just